Hi, you're watching West Bloomfield 911. I'm your host, Tim Shepard, and on behalf of Chief Michael Patton and my Deputy Chief, Kurt Lawson, as well as my brothers and sisters in blue, I would like to welcome you to the show. Joining me today is Officer Joe Miller, K-9 officer with the West Bloomfield Police Department. Joe, thank you very much for coming over and taking the time to speak with me.
No, it's no problem.
I know that you have a lot of tasks and a lot of duties and training and a lot of things going on, and so it means a lot to the community to meet you. And I know you've been here before, but there's some new things going on with you that we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
So I want to catch the community up on who Officer Joe is and how you became an officer. What was your determining factor in going into the criminal world?
Well, really for me, it kind of started off as a young age.
Okay.
Pretty much my mom and dad always like to tell the story that when I was like 5 years old, I said I was either going to be a police officer, a comedian, or an architect.
Okay.
So back then, many, many moons ago, architecture, you had to have like a family member or somebody you knew within the architecture world to be able to get in.
Okay.
And then my mom was like, you know, you're funny, but you might not be funny enough to be a comedian. So, you know, you may find the job's going to pay the bills. And I'm like, hey, police work, I can still be funny. And I can, you know, help people at the same time. So
Okay.
I kind of just, like I said, at a young age, just kind of set my goals towards becoming a police officer. And 20 years later now, I'm here.
So you've been an officer for 20 years. I know you've been at another department. Can you tell me a little bit about your past department, where you came from, and why you came to West Bloomfield?
Yeah, so I graduated from college in '98.
Okay.
And it was May of '98, and then September of '98, I actually got hired by University of Michigan Department of Public Safety. So I started out as a non-sworn officer down there, and basically got promoted to a police officer within a year.
Okay.
So I was with University of Michigan until 2002. Then I left there and went to Pontiac. I was one of those young guys that wanted to do the run and gun,
Sure.
you know, type of thing. So I enjoyed working in the city of Pontiac, and then I got laid off in 2006 from Pontiac. So I was laid off for about 5 months, and then, you know, as you know, in the police world, you're testing and trying to get in somewhere.
Sure.
And actually tested with West Bloomfield, and actually West Bloomfield was the first department to basically pick me up. So I was sitting at the tops of a lot of different different departments, but
Okay.
you know, people were trying to, you know, different processes and different, you know, red tape, and West
Sure.
Bloomfield snagged me up. So
Okay.
haven't looked back.
Yeah. So you've made your career here and your life here,
Yeah.
and do you feel like this was a great decision for you in terms of your professional career?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Reason why I say no is just with change, you know, it's just a matter of just trying to learn a new community.
Sure.
So for me, you know, coming from kind of that real high speed, you know, we had the car chases and the, you know, the more violent crimes. Then coming here, it was a little bit of adjustment
Okay.
for me. Like, oh, wait a minute, you know, everybody's waving at me with all their fingers, and,
Right.
and you know, it was
Yeah.
kind of for me. The reason I say no is just it was just that transition
Sure,
phase
it
of
was
like, man, like I'm coming to
difficult to
people's
go-
houses
Sure.
and they're like nice, you know, versus kind of that constant like I don't want you here type
Sure.
of thing. So once I kind of made that transition, you know, now I sit back and look back at it. You know, I'm starting my 13th year, well, on my 13th year now. I don't regret it. Wouldn't change anything. Like I said, it was a little bit of a transition phase.
Sure.
And
I mean, that makes sense, especially when you're, you know, I mean, you're a young guy now, but, you know, a few years back, you know, I think that transition would be difficult, but I just know that the West Bloomfield Township community, you know, really appreciates their officers.
Right.
I feel that when I'm out, I would assume that you probably get that same kind of.
Absolutely. Like I
Yeah.
said, for me, it's just the biggest. I'm one of those who I still have that run and gun mindset.
Sure.
But at the same time, I just enjoy the community, being able to be around, like, because we do have such a diverse community, being able to go into different cultures that maybe I wasn't exposed to
Sure.
previously, and it's being welcomed. You know,
Okay.
it's like it's kind of nice not being yelled at
Yeah,
when you show
I
up.
agree.
You know,
Yep,
so
I agree.
it's definitely
it's
a
nice
good
to be
thing.
appreciated.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously you didn't sign up to be appreciated, but I think it's a factor that makes everyone feel value if someone appreciates what you're doing. So I know that, you know, you've done a great job in this department, and you've done multiple different tasks and units in this department. And so I wanted to talk about some of the things you've decided to do in your career here.
Okay.
Let's talk about what you're doing now in terms of your variety of units. Let's start with the Honor Guard.
Okay, so yeah, so I've been a member of our police department honor guard since 2008,
Okay.
and then right now I'm currently in charge of our honor guard unit, which is a 9-person team.
Okay.
Hoping to get our 10th person on maybe next year. We're slotted for 10, but it's just a matter of with retirements and then people changing different positions, stuff like that. It's kind of hard to stay at that 10-person mark. So
Let me say this. So maybe our people don't know what Honor Guard is. What is Honor Guard?
So our honor guard team, basically, we're the ones who do the parades. We have obviously our police memorial that we do each year. We're also the ones that will do funerals, pretty much any kind of social event. That where the department wants kind of we like to say we're like the face of the department.
Okay.
We're going to come in with the dress uniforms where it's the high collar Marine style, the DI style hat. It's all the precision movement. We train hard and perform even harder. So.
Okay. Well, obviously I know what the Honor Guard is, and you guys do a great job, and I think the community as well as the department admire you guys and are glad that you do the job you do. And let me ask you this. So you have the Honor Guard. I also know you're on the crisis negotiation team.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
So there's a four-person team. Obviously, you being one of the people on there as well too.
Sure.
But yeah, we're kind of getting our lieutenant over the SWAT team is trying to get us kind of linked in with them.
Okay.
So that like on the barricaded subjects or maybe someone who's maybe in mental crises or whatever, we'd be the ones who'd be getting called out to actually deal with that situation. Obviously, as you know, we have a little more training than what the standard officer does.
Okay.
So we're kind of like that nice, I want to say negotiation point, but if we're able to talk somebody down off of their state of mind at that point in time to make it a peaceful resolution, obviously that's what the department would love.
Sure.
Versus it having to go to like a tactical standpoint.
Okay. And I guess just so our audience knows that the crisis negotiation team could be considered, people may think of it as more like a hostage negotiation team.
Yeah.
Now we don't use the word hostage because the person may be in having a mental crisis or a emotional crisis, and so we're trained to deal with those people. Some of the training that you do, now I know this obviously, but when it comes to some specialized training, and we don't have to get into specifics, but I know that you volunteer some time in the community as part of your training. Can you just tell me about that a little bit?
Yeah, so as far as for the department itself, I'm obviously an instructor for a lot of our defensive aspect of stuff, so like taser, any of our firearms kind of stuff I'm an instructor for. I since have, within the last couple of years, actually started teaching CPL classes, which is the concealed pistol license classes with Lieutenant Stout and then Sergeant Sage and then Officer Kinishuk. So that's kind of like my outreach as far as with the community besides my nonprofit that I have as well. So
and we're going to talk about your nonprofit work as well, so the community knows that what a good heart you actually have and that you really want to give back to the community and to law enforcement as well as K-9s and things like that. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about your current another one of your current details, which the uniform people can see right now. You have the K-9 on your collars, and we're going to talk about that. So we're going to take a short break. We'll return with more West Bloomfield 911.
The West Bloomfield Police Foundation raises money to help those who protect and serve the community. Whether it's emotional or financial support, the foundation provides a helping hand to officers, their families, and those in the community. For more information on the West Bloomfield Police Foundation, contact Kurt Lawson at 248-975-8900 or visit wbpolicefoundation.org.
Hello, I'm Lisa Brown, Oakland County Clerk, Register of Deeds. You know to check your credit report, but when's the last time you checked the title to your property? Most likely your home is your biggest financial investment. And deed fraud is on the rise across the whole country. Oakland County is no exception. That's why I worked with Xerox and Google to create our Property Records Notification System. Property Records Notification alerts property owners about potentially fraudulent activity, such as forged deeds and bogus liens. This free service, which is the first of its kind in the United States, makes it possible to receive up-to-date information about a property, making it much more difficult for fraudsters to go undetected. To sign up for our free notification system, please visit ocmideeds.com.
Welcome back to West Bloomfield 911. I'm your host, Tim Shepard, and again, I'm here with K-9 Officer Joe Miller of the West Bloomfield Police Department. So, Officer Miller, again, thanks for coming out and talking to me.
No,
I appreciate
no problem.
taking
No
the
problem.
time. I know you're going to be going to your shift here shortly, so I want to talk about your current detail and one that I think is probably near and dear to your heart, and which is the K-9. So can you tell me, first of all, what is K-9?
All right, so basically it's the police dogs. We're the, I guess we bring the nose to the scene.
Okay.
The dogs are definitely trained to be able to do stuff and pick up stuff that the typical officer won't be able to.
Okay.
Obviously, like their closing speed as far as trying to catch somebody, or if we got to track somebody, whatever the case may be that we're needed for. They have a wide variety of abilities that they can do that the average officer can't.
Let me ask you this. At West Bloomfield, are there more than one police dog?
Yeah, right now we have 3.
Okay.
We have 2 narcotics dogs and we have 1 bomb dog. Mine's the bomb dog,
Okay.
or the explosives dog.
Okay.
Our veteran narcotics handler is actually retiring in November, so that's why they got the new guy starting to get his pup trained up now, so that there won't be that lag of not having that service for the community.
I don't want to neglect your dog, so what is your dog's name so the community knows?
My dog's name is Lonzo.
Lonzo.
Yeah, Lonzo.
And what kind of dog is Lonzo?
He's a Dutch Shepherd.
Dutch Shepherd.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that breed? I don't know much about that.
Yeah, so most people think of the German Shepherd.
Sure.
Or the Belgian Malinois.
Okay.
Which is the short hair, very high energy. The Dutch Shepherd is literally kind of they're not, the German Shepherd and the Malinois has not bred together, but it's like that. The Dutch Shepherd is like the middle road,
Okay.
to where they have the temperament of the German Shepherd, where they can kind of be loving and the whole bit, but then they do have that switch where they can go right into work mode, and then they pretty much don't quit. Like, they are high drive dogs.
You know, you say that switch. So when we talk about dogs, most of us who have just a dog as a pet, we keep our pets at home, our kids, our families, they kind of like your kid almost. How is Lonzo a tool? Is he a pet? What is Lonzo into you?
Lonzo is my partner.
Okay.
So he's dual purpose as far as he's a tool for the department. He's my partner when we're in the car together. I know that if I get into trouble to where I need, somebody else there, he's a door pop away.
Okay.
I pop that door, he's coming out, he's going to help me, period. So most departments across the country look at the K-9s as being actual officers.
Okay.
So they're not pets. Our dogs here in West Bloomfield, we've really been lucky as far as we train our dogs that we can go into a church, a school. The kids can come up, they can play with them, pet them, throw ball to them, the whole bit, type of thing. And then, like I said, with a matter of a command, all 3 of the dogs can switch into that work mode where it's like, hey, don't mess with them. They're tracking or they're searching for something or whatever the case may be.
And you say, with kids and things like that, can you give some advice to parents, or to probably not a lot of kids watching this show, but to the parents, how to approach a K-9 officer if they're interested in talking to you about yourself or your dog?
If you're here in West Bloomfield, you can just come right up to us. So other jurisdictions, depending on the dog, there are some dogs that they're gonna be real protective of their handler and stuff like that. So just don't run up and start petting it. Oh, I see a police dog, and run up to it. Always check with the handler first. Like, hey, do you mind if my son or daughter pet your dog, or can I pet your dog? Can I take a picture of your dog? That kind of stuff. I'll tell you right now, you're not gonna have a K-9 handler that's gonna say, oh no, you can't take a picture of my dog. So we understand that the dogs serve a dual purpose. They're there to assist officers, but at the same time, they're a huge public relation tool. I mean, that a lot of times, where maybe somebody is scared of an officer, they're not going to be scared of that dog when he walks up and stuff like that. So I know that our department has used me several different times to reach out to either kids or elderly or whatever the case may be, as that kind of like that link
That's
to
interesting.
almost open the door for them to
Yeah.
actually come in and talk.
That's great. In terms of your own family,
Mm-hmm.
we don't need to talk about specifics of your family, but do you take your pet home, or do you take Lonzo home with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's with me, like I said, he's with me 24/7. So
Okay.
and when he's at home, I take his vest off and stuff.
Okay.
And for him, it almost kind of clicks in his mind, like, oh, hey, I can be a puppy and
Okay.
be silly and run around with my kids and play ball with my kids. And he likes chasing them around, and they love to hide his toy and make him find it.
That's
and
awesome.
They have a good time with
Yeah,
him.
that's
so.
good. That's good that that they have the opportunity to not just have to be kenneled and things like
Right.
that. So it's part of he's your partner as well as part of your family. That's great. And in terms of training, I know there's a lot of training. Can you explain to our audience a little bit about the training you've gone through, the training Lonzo's gone through?
So like I said, since we're an explosives dog, we actually have 27 different scents or odors that we have to be very efficient on.
Okay.
And what it is, when I talk about odors, it's going to be different elements to like make a bomb.
Okay.
Type of thing.
Sure.
So we have to train on those so
Okay.
that he's able to pick those up and find them.
Okay.
So we actually have weekly training. Every Wednesday we train with the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. My dog's a little bit unique as far as there's only 6 bomb dogs
Wow.
in the entire Oakland County.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of a higher demand
Sure.
for us. So if the Oakland County Sheriff's Department gets a heads up as far as like, hey, we have a bomb threat or we got a bomb scare or whatever the case may be, they've actually used me a lot. They've called and said, hey, can we use you? I'm lucky to have a command that is very supportive of, they're very, number one, they're very happy that they have this asset
Sure.
in the township, and they're like, yeah, they'll let other communities use as well too. So I've kind of went out, especially if I'm working, I've been to Sterling Heights for suspicion packages. Went out and helped Farmington Hills, and I've kind of been Southfield, Detroit, kind of all over to help.
Wow, that's amazing.
As
That's
far
great
as
that
so-
the asset is shared with the community,
Right.
Because some departments maybe can't afford a bomb dog or don't have one available. So I think that's great. Now, in terms of him becoming, I don't know if it's certified.
Yes.
Is it a certification?
Yeah, they go through a certification
Tell me how he
process.
became certified and what's that?
So, my certification organization is National Association of of Professional K-9 Handlers.
Okay.
Or better known as NAPSH. So they have a very specific testing process they have to go through. So like we went through the police academy, basically is what it boils down to for dogs.
Okay.
So it was a K-9 academy. Mine class was actually 8 weeks. So it was 5 weeks of Monday through Friday, like anywhere from 8 to 10 hour days.
Wow.
And then we went into a 3-week transition phase. So I'd come work the road, and then go back to the academy and train.
Okay.
Hey, what did you guys come up with? What did you not come up with? At my class, there was 5 other handlers in there as well too,
Okay.
from various departments. So we kind of was like, hey, the one officer came and said, hey, I had to search a car on the interstate. We never searched with cars driving by. So we set it up. Guys are driving by as you take your dog and
Oh,
start
nice.
searching. So
Okay.
it was,
Like
it was a way
collaborating
of
on-
so
yeah.
it was a way of kind of getting the dogs exposed to different things.
Okay.
And then, like I said, at the end of the academy, you have to actually go through like a certification process, which is a pretty lengthy process.
Well, obviously, we work together, and your dog is great, and I'm sure he's a great partner. But I just know that from the community standpoint, everyone loves him that comes across him, and I'm sure he's doing a great job for the department. I want to talk about some of the things that you do on your personal side, and I'm
Okay.
talking about some of your volunteer work. And I know, I think the community would be impressed to hear some of the things that you're involved with. Can you start out with some of the things that you're involved with?
Probably the big thing is my nonprofit that I have. It's called the Crosshairs Foundation.
Okay.
That was something that was kind of, me and my wife, we started it. We were the founders of it. And then we brought in some other law enforcement people,
Okay.
basically. So it's kind of law enforcement driven.
Okay.
We have 5 different areas that we focus on, which is domestic violence,
Okay.
education, public safety, breast cancer, and then financially disadvantaged kids. So those are the areas that we kind of focus
Wow, it's a lot.
our energies in, and we picked those areas because it was such a wider range
Okay.
of, instead of being like, oh, we're just gonna go just law enforcement, or we're gonna go just this or just that, because then it limits, number one, people who will necessarily donate,
Okay.
but then also kind of limits on what you can give back out to. So by doing the wide variety of the 5 areas, we're able to the monies we're able to collect, we're able to give out, we're able to do different events to help different organizations throughout the process. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I really do find joy in doing it. So
That's great. And how long has the Crosshair been around?
we started our process in late 2010, and we actually, my wife, I have to give her the shout out because she's one of those she's amazing when it comes to to getting the process. We actually were contacted by the state when we started doing our paperwork, and we were actually one of the faster ones to get through the process to get actually the tax exemption and the blessing and notification and being recognized and being notified, noticed as a nonprofit. So because she went to work on getting her paperwork done and stuff like that. So we actually became official in like late 2010, early 2011.
So it's been 8-9 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Can you tell me some of the events you guys have done in the past?
Yeah, so we host the annual Patrick O'Rourke Memorial, which is one that was started after Sergeant Patrick O'Rourke was killed here at our department. His family had kind of reached out at the time and wanted to do something to be able to give back to students and potentially kids that it kind of started out as being initially other kids whose maybe parents were in law enforcement or were killed in law enforcement, whatever, and it kind of transitioned into a scholarship fund.
Okay.
So Dan and Arlene O'Rourke, his mom and dad, are actually in charge of that now, and so we've been able to fund the scholarship. They've actually given out, I think it's a little over $50,000, and our golf outing has provided almost $38,000 of that. So
and that's an annual event?
Yeah, we do that. We do it the third Monday of every September.
Okay.
It's here at Tamil Shannon Golf Course. They have been gracious and open up their doors, and we always sell out every year, and it's a good time. We got a lot of community involvement and stuff too, which is nice.
Okay.
And like I said, it's been nice to partner with the family, but the bottom line is just keeping Pat's memory alive.
Absolutely.
As
I
far as
agree.
what
I
he
think
was.
that's wonderful that you do that. Let me ask you this: how can people get in contact with you for your Crosshairs Foundation? Is there a website? Is there a phone number?
Yeah, the website is www.thecrosshairsfoundation.
The Crosshairs Foundation?
thecrosshairsfoundation.org.
Okay.
And all of our email addresses on there, our telephones and numbers are on there, so they can easily, not to entangle the two, but obviously they can call a station and ask for me too.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
and I'll call them back when I'm obviously not working or whatever it's about Crosshairs.
And they can they can donate. Can donate time as well?
Yeah, if they want to come out to one of our events, like I said, every year we have our golf outing. We've done fundraisers for the different honor guards in the area.
Okay.
We're doing one now. We're starting to kind of get in the K-9 world after K-9 Axe was killed in November of 2018.
Sure.
Handlers kind of got together, so we're starting like an annual event for it's a bowling event basically to raise money for like bulletproof vests and stuff like that. So that's in the works as well too.
That's awesome.
And that's kind of nice because it actually has handlers from different departments kind of all over Oakland County, and then we've also had a lot of civilians who just love dogs who said, hey, how do I get involved? So we're always looking for people to want to come in and enjoy the festivities and help out.
That's great. And it shows your dedication to the community and to law enforcement, students, to a wide variety of people that you're willing to do this in your spare time and involve your family. It takes a lot of work, and if people don't understand how hard it is, they can just look on your website and see all the things that are going on, and maybe they can reach out to you and try to help. I know that there was also some K-9 movie that came out. Can you talk to me about that a little bit and what that's all about?
Yeah, so like I said, it kind of started. We as the K-9 handlers kind of got together to start doing this fundraising kind of thing. Like I said, November of 2018, when the St. Clair Shores dog Axe was killed, social media kind of blew up.
Okay.
There was a lot of misinformation on both sides, both for the police dog and against the police dog. And it was all over social media. And of course, we're involved in that world, and you can see it. And so I was contacted by a photographer. His name is John Kopak, and he's like, let's do like a video. He was thinking like, let's do like a 3-4 minute video about the dogs, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, that works. And when we sat down and talked, I said, but let's do it this way. I go, let's do it. I want to educate people. Okay. I'm like, I don't want it just to be like, oh, hey, here's some dogs doing whatever. Because everybody thinks that all the dogs do is just bite and find drugs. That's it. Bite and find drugs. And there's so much more they do. Sure. So the video actually, which is labeled Fur Courage, it actually educates what these dogs really do, and it shows different dogs. We basically used the Oakland, one of the Oakland training groups, which is the one I belong to on Wednesday. So it was West Bloomfield's dogs are obviously all over the video, Waterford, Rochester, and then Oakland County Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
So they came out, John came out, he did like 3 days worth of taping, and our little 3-4 minute video turned into just under 14 minutes.
Wow, nice.
And it is phenomenal. So
how can people find that? Is it on YouTube?
yeah,
Is it,
if you go to YouTube and just type in Fur Courage, F-U-R,
okay.
yep,
All right.
F-U-R, and then C-O-U-R-A-G-E.
Okay.
And it's gonna be the first one pops up, and I'll say like, Fur Courage, I'm trying to remember what the full title of it is. It says something to the effect of like Oakland County's K-9 or something like that.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, it's under Fur Courage. Like I said, it's a big banner. Like I said, it's like 13, just under 14 minutes long.
Well, that's great, Joe. And your dedication to the community is obvious, and to law enforcement. So it's wonderful that you came out here today to talk to me about the things that are going on in your life in terms of the different units you're in, the things that you in your private life you're taking care of. I'm talking about your movie and your volunteer work. It shows your dedication, and as a representative of the police department, thank you for all your hard work, and keep it up. You're doing a great job, and so thank you very much today for coming out.
Oh, that's no problem.
Okay. I want to thank you for joining us for this episode of West Bloomfield 911. You can keep up with the police department by liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter and Instagram. You can also sign up for Nixle.com and CrimeMapping.com for the most up-to-date information about the police department. Thank you for watching. Take care.